Good morning everybody, welcome to Stockradar Stocks on the Move for another week. Today's date is the 11th of July 2024. My name is Richard Lee and I'm made stockradar.com.au website for you. Well, we're coming to the snow this week. Not that there is a lot of snow here in Mount Buller, but we've got plenty of fresh air, which I love. So having a nice week up here anyway and enjoying the time. Really today, it's a bit of a slightly shortened version maybe. I'm going to focusing on the top 10 and the issue of total control, which is my t-shirt today because we're in a scary part of the US market at the moment. Okay, so really the markets challenge us and test us all the time, but if we remain true to our trends and true to our plan, we will be okay, and that's important. Doesn't mean we won't take losses, but it means we can curtail them and hopefully manage our profits nicely. So as the US indices skyrocket and our market stays relatively calm, we can only wonder what's in store. So the best thing we can do is focus on specific trends and their stops. Remember, we have only 44 stocks of 156 stocks that we cover, so the market is not rock solid, as the banks remain the major stabilising force of our market. And we also note that Amazon, Tesla, Meta and Alphabet now control 45% of the S&P 500, and that's still rising. Amazing. The repercussions are somewhat scary, so without knowing what's ahead, because at some stage these stocks will come down with a thud, the best we can do is control what we can. So total control is really what I'm all about today, controlling what you do, not what you can't control. So that's what we're all about today. Positive thoughts this week. The ASX 200 is still on track to challenge its highs. It's been rotating for the last few months, but it's still holding support and it's very close to those highs there. So we're going to probably have a good day today, but we'll just have to sort of wait and see whether we are going to break up or not. Okay, but the trend does remain up for our market, as well as, of course, the US indices. Commodities seem to be on the rebound after a bit of a correction. Gold has stabilised. We'll have a look at a few of those charts shortly. But let's get to the top 10 and see what they tell us. This is what I'm going to focus on today as far as my stocks goes, on these top 10, and just see what we can see and what it means for us and why we do what we do. Okay, so you've got Aristocrat, which has broken higher. We know GQG's had a great run. Ventia Services has had a rebound. Webjet is going along nicely, and you can see the chart there. It's had a good breakup, a nice correction back to support, and is now rallying through the highs again, which is a good sign. Yancoal and Whitehaven Coal are doing well at the moment. IAG has really bounced higher. RE is making new highs. WiseTech is just having a little rotation in one spot. We'll have a look at that chart a bit later on. In fact, we're going to look at all these charts. And A2 Milk broke to new highs, came back and is rebounding again. So we'll have a look at all these stocks today just to go through what we are doing. Okay, the stock pick count is down 1 to 61 this week. We have 44 stock picks and 17 ETFs. So we've lost a couple of those ETFs at the moment. Okay, so let's go and have a look at some of the overseas markets. Okay, firstly, the Dow Jones. Okay, so there we have it. Its little rotation is moving towards those highs. It's got a challenge ahead of it. It's a bit slow. We've seen a bit of selling coming through the Dow here, which has sort of slowed the rise a little bit. Not a huge amount of volume pushing this market at the moment. Momentum still remains positive, so it's within a corrective phase and looks okay. But the challenge is R1 at the moment for the Dow Jones. And we go to the S&P and the Nasdaq, they're almost a mirror of each other pretty well. We see good buying. We saw a big selling bar here, and again, I don't know really what that was about because it really didn't stop anything. It's making new highs, and we can see again, if we look at the Nasdaq, it's a mirror image of the S&P pretty well, just making new high after new high. And there's some serious buying going on at the Nasdaq at the moment. So those indices are strong. The rise has been enormous. It will correct at some stage. I don't know when it's going to do it, but we'll always be prepared for that sort of thing because we have stops in place looking after us. Okay, so that's the indices. We look at our market again, which is doing pretty well. We're still rotating this area. We've got a slight, some series of high lows here, which is encouraging. As I said to you before, the banks have really been stabilising force of this index because it is quite a large percentage of the index. And so it holds for now. And as to where it's going to go from here, we don't know. But the trend is up. It's made new highs. It's in a corrective pattern, so I'm still biasing myself towards the upside for the ASX 200. Okay, commodities. We look at gold. It's had a pause. It's just having a little correction there. It looks fine. The volume has been sort of easing through this pattern, which is good. Momentum remains positive, which is great. Okay, copper. It's a bit of a volatile one, up and down, but it found a bit of support down here at S1 and is now starting to rally again. Again, we can see this move down here. The volume was really sort of pretty light throughout the thing, which has meant there's not aggressive selling here. This is what we'd like to see, the big volume on the big upward move. So copper looks okay to me, a little bit volatile, which makes it hard. It's a bit like some of those mining stocks. Sometimes they're just a bit too volatile for the stops, and it does kill us a little bit. But that's the way it is. So the industrials really is where we find our major trends. Brent crude again rotating. It's come back a bit this week. No biggie on there, but it's just trading in that range, Brent crude, and it seems to be okay. Energy stocks aren't doing too much. There is some good energy stocks, as in not oil stocks, as in gas and coal, which are doing okay. We look at the origins and things like that. Okay, so that's the commodities. Now we're going to go to a few stocks now. I said before we're going to go through the top 10, so I'm going to go work through them for you. And we can see what's happened with Aristocrat here. It reached a high up here. It had a big sell-off here. What that was all about, I don't know. There was some aggressive selling, but all of a sudden we've seen an explosion up, and it's taken us through the highs. So when this happens, our strategy says go with it, buy the new high, the weekly new high, and go with it, and we have done. And so far, it's looking okay. We can see down the bottom here, we've got some good volume coming through. Momentum sparks to life. It's above the average. So there was no real argument for us. Our strategy says this is what we use to make our decisions. So this is what we do, and we buy this stock. Trend intensity rating is 10 for Aristocrat, and we follow this one higher. Okay, these are the ones we live for. GQG, it just keeps going higher and higher. It's come off a bit today, this week. It may well finish on highs again this week. This red bar could turn green again very quickly, because this is the week we're in at the moment. So this is the pleasant surprise that does happen frequently. So we had a nice breakout down here, down at $1.68. It is now testing $3, and that's an enormous rise this year. So these are the stocks that will really make you some money. So it's in our top 10. GQG Partners, done very well. Trend intensity rating, plus 10. Love it to bits. Okay, and we can also squeeze up here a bit of volume, just so you can see that there is that big red bar did disguise a little bit, some good buying through here. Momentum's very strong. So that's GQG Partners, which looks good. So number 3 in our list is Ventia Services. Again, part of our strategy is to always protect when we need to, okay? And then when our stop is hit, we get out. We don't know what's happened. We've took a 19% profit there. We then wait to see what happens. The stock has made a new high. So we've protected our profit, but we're also still exposed to an uptrend, which is what our strategy is. So this is what we must do. So a new high has triggered a re-entry there for Ventia Services. Its trend intensity rating is 8. We can see some nice volumes come through here. Again, we've got some big bars, which does disguise what we're seeing down here. Some really good buying through this last little rally here. And momentum's held up well above 0 and is still steady and is now turning back up again. So that's a good one as well, Ventia Services. Webjet we looked at before. It has had a nice little rise, a little break up here through, which should be S1, now S1, which was R1. Good break up through here. It did correct a bit, so we've got a bit of the wobbles, a bit like what ATM is doing at the moment, which we'll have a look at in a second. But it's made a new high. We had a good bounce up last week, and the volume has been good, momentum is good. So this is a solid one. Trend intensity rating is 10. So simply here, when we get a breakout, we jump on board and set a stop. Breakout, jump on board, set a stop. 1, 2, 3 steps. Quite a simple one. Okay, so that's Webjet, which is looking great. I'm enjoying this one. Yancoal had another break up. I talked about the coal stocks before. These stocks have been looking very encouraging after a good correction here. I come back down, and now Ventia, let me just get rid of this rectangle here. It's broken to new highs. Came back a bit yesterday. That's okay. Coal is hot, so we go with the break and protect. Yancoal, Whitehaven Coal are both doing very well, and we know this has all been in the face of negative sentiment regarding coal, but it's one of the biggest. It's being used all over the world, and its use is going higher and higher all the time as renewables struggle to make their impact felt. Okay, and with Yancoal down the bottom here, you can see the volume is looking very positive, momentum's positive. Above the average, we have a break. Again, we've got 4 things saying there. You must go with this one. Trend intensity rating is plus 10. So we love this one as well. Yancoal. Insurance Australia, another one which we've been following for quite some time. Let me just get this up here. Okay, so we got into this one back in June of last year. So this has been a 12-month trade from about $5.40 and now up above $7. A good return. It was very slow to start with. We've had some good bumps up this month, some fantastic rallies this month. So it was slow and steady, but then comes the surprise. These surprises will invariably come from markets already in uptrends. Okay, downtrend surprises usually come from stocks in downtrends. That's an odds thing. Okay, not a guarantee thing, but generally an upside surprise will come from a stock that's already in an uptrend, and that's what's happened here with IAG, which was really quite staid and boring there for a while. Trend intensity rating is 9. We're seeing some nice healthy volume driving all this rally. The momentum is positive and it's above the moving average, which is providing a nice bit of support for this rally as well at the moment. Just simple technicals. Don't overthink. Don't look for too much. Just simply look at this. This pattern is just all there. So you just hold this and just raise your stop. It's really quite a simple exercise. Okay. All right. The other one is Rare Group. It is making new highs. And it's, it had made new highs back here a while ago. It took a long time. I mean, markets do these sorts of things to test us, but this is not an unusual thing, and this is a long time. This is sort of we're going back to the start of the year here. We've gone sideways, so we've had to wait almost 6 months for this to start rallying again. It'll probably have a good rally today, and we see its friends like Seek, which is just going down, and on very high volume. So I don't know what's happening with Seek. All I know is it's going down, and people are selling it. So the fundamentals don't matter to me. The price does. Rare Group's going the other way. So there you go. And Car Group is going pretty well sideways at the moment after having a good rally. So, but Rare Group's the one we're following here. It's making new highs. It's a new high. If it's part of your strategy, you don't argue. Remember, follow your strategy. Don't try and second guess. Don't try and add things in you might think might affect it. And don't listen to somebody in the news. Just follow your plan, and you will survive well. Okay, so this is all constructive down here. Good volume, momentum is still positive all the way through this pattern. So again, it may have tested your patience, but that's what happens sometimes, and that's what markets do. Okay, Whitehaven Coal, a bit similar to Yancoal. A nice little break up here, big correction from 11 down to 6. A huge correction. It's now to build a good base here. We've had some high lows through here, pushing at this resistance, which is now broken. So Whitehaven Coal now is broken through here, and the next resistance is up back at the old highs at $11. Okay, so that's Whitehaven Coal holding pretty well. The volume's a little bit hard to read down here, but it is it's not a lot of selling's occurring in there, so that's a good sign. And momentum is now kicking up high. I should have fixed up these annotations before, but you can just see the momentum index is just starting to rise above zero there, which is a good sign. So Whitehaven Coal looks good. Trend intensity rating is +9. Next resistance is $11. So all these stocks, as I said before, there are only 44 or 43 stocks or 41, whatever it is at the moment, that are doing it well. The rest aren't. And so this is where we focus on the ones that are going up. So it's nice to see all these stocks that are going up, and there always will be some stocks going up for us to follow. Okay, WiseTech, it's had a good rally this year from down around $60. It's now up around $100. It has had a bit of a slowing here. We've seen a bit of selling here challenging these buys at the moment, but it hasn't really made a dent on the price. So it's fairly resilient, WiseTech. We quite like it. And I know it's a very expensive stock, but that's what it is. It's still above the average. Momentum is positive, well above zero here. Okay, although it has slowed a little bit, which we would expect through here. And there's been a bit of a selling challenge here. So trend intensity rating is not at a maximum. It's at +9, but that's still very strong. So that's a very good thing as well. Okay, the next one of our top 10s is A2 Milk, which we entered recently here on a new high. We can see this one here. Let me just blow this up a little bit more for you. Okay, so we can see this one here. It's looking pretty good. It had a break up here, which we did get a signal to buy. It was more of a 1% break of that resistance area, which is what we need. It's come back. That's fine. This is what markets do. So don't be too concerned. If your stop goes off, you're concerned. But if the market just comes back, it's what markets do. They go up, they go down, they go up, they go down. High highs and high lows is what we want to see, and that's what we're seeing here at the moment. So A2 milk, Trend rating +8. Everything looks fine there. Not a lot of selling here. Momentum's got a little bit flat, but it looks okay. So that is A2 milk. Now I'm going to add one more. So that's the top 10 stocks for you. So you can just see you don't need to focus on all the other stocks out there. There's lots of stocks going down, whether it's, Sonic Health, some of those health stocks looking terrible. I've got things like IGO, PLS, very, very disappointing, huge falls in the market there. So there are lots of stocks that are struggling there, and Seek's another one. So you just got to keep away from those stocks, excuse me, and focus on the stocks that are going up. That's all you really need to do. Okay, so that is Santos. Okay, so I'm just going to mention a couple of other stocks that I've got here. I just mentioned Telstra. It's had a bit of a rally lately, a little bit interesting, a little bit of independent strength there. It's now heading into resistance, and we might have a look at that one possibly next week. I'm looking at Woolworths and Coles, both sort of starting to look a bit of a recovery stage, and I quite like especially Woolworths starting to get up into that, those switch zone I look at where you've got a downtrend, you've got a horizontal resistance, you've got a moving average, all these little things that point to a bit of resistance, and if we can get through there, it'll look good. Coles is in more of a trading range, a little bit of a different case there. But they're interesting, and I'll have a look at those over the next few weeks. I've mentioned Santos. But we can just go and have a look at that chart now. Santos, and we can see what's happening here. It is, for a long time we saw the big rally here that ran into resistance up there at $9, $9, but we're now sitting here. I've got a little bell here. Here's an alert here saying if it goes through here, then I'm looking to get onto this one because it's looking very interesting here. We've tried, we've failed, we've tried, and we haven't failed this time. We had a bit of bounce last week, which was quite interesting. So it's struggling to penetrate this resistance, and I love that because I know if it breaks out, it's got a very good chance of having a good, potentially explosive rally from there, which we manage, of course, with our control. Okay. So at the moment, trend intensity rating for Santos is a +3, which is ready, set, go. Okay, we see a bit of volume pushing this little bit out here. Momentum is just starting to tick higher, so it's starting to look reasonably interesting, Santos, after being really dead for just over almost 3 years. It's been trading in this sort of $7 to $8 range there. Okay, so that's Santos. Another one, Steadfast, which has been a very interesting turnaround to make new highs. Forget the fundamentals of these stocks, just follow the price. We don't need to know why, we don't need to go the reason for these sorts of things, but if they happen, this is what we follow. Remember, the price never lies, and that's what we always follow. Okay, another interesting stock you might have a look at, which is Austin Engineering, which has just gone through the roof recently. Huge rally, and you may know why. I don't know why. I just follow the price, but it's been a very interesting stock, which has moved ahead very, very well indeed. Okay, so that's most of the stuff I've got for today. Just briefly, in the end, on an end note here, it is so important, especially with what's happening overseas, to take control. Control what you can and don't worry. As long as you've got your stock-specific situation, we do bottom up, not top down. We do bottom up, so we focus on our stock specifically, we focus on our trends, we focus on our stop losses, and that will keep us safe. Okay, we never take a big loss because we always limit those losses to a minimum and get out. And if we have to re-enter, we will always re-enter, and that's part of our strategy. Okay, so that's all I really got for today. So if you just to finish off here, my finish off note: if you're trading the markets, the safety of trend is an odds-on way to keep the profits flowing. When matched with the protection of a stop, it ensures damaging losses are not incurred, provided you follow those stops. Remember, the discipline thing is one of the hardest things we have, taking the entries and listening to our stops. Don't be afraid, strong trends will unfold. We don't know which ones are going to do, but they will unfold. Not all, but you can see from our top 10 review, with some simple management, you will catch them. GQG, a few of these ones, nice little profits, which we need to make our returns good. And you can check out when you want to, with these, sorry, I'm going to say this again. Don't be afraid, strong trends will unfold, not all, but you can see from our top 10 review with some simple management, you will catch them, and you can check out when you want to, when they're not delivering what you want, and that's important. If your stop goes off, it's important. It's a very, very simple process that you follow. Don't delve too deeply. Don't look for what you want to look for. all these sort of things, all these biases we have, confirmation biases, anchor biases, all these things. We've got to ignore all those things and just focus on what our trade plan is telling us to do. As I say, it's a very simple process. Really, if we don't let our confused and analytical minds take over, follow the trade plan that you built for yourself, and it will steer you in the right way. So watch your trends, heed your stops, stay safe, and I'll see you all next week. And I think we might have an exciting day today. So let's see what happens. Thank you very much. See you next week.